Triangles. Isosceles triangles. All right, let's start with some basic vocabulary. A scalene triangle, which I have shown here on the left, is where there's no congruent sides, no congruent angles. So congruent means same measure, so none of these sides are the same measure and none of the angles are the same measure. However, an equilateral triangle, all three sides are congruent, and we are showing that with these little slash marks, so that way you know that the sides that those slash marks touch are all the same measure. And all three angles are congruent, and I'm showing that here with these little arcs to show you, since all of them have a single arc, that all three angles are the same measure. However, an isosceles triangle, which is the focus of this video, is where there is at least two congruent sides. Again, I'm showing that with these two slash marks. So these two sides here on the left and the right are congruent. And we also have two congruent angles, which you can see those two congruent angles are the ones that touch the two congruent sides. All right. We also need to remember the rule for the angles of a triangle. For any triangle, the sum of the three angles are going to equal 180 degrees. And also the rule for the sides of a triangle, which is the triangle inequality theorem. The sum of the lengths of any two sides has to be greater than the length of the third side. All right, let's start with this question. Which of the following could be three sides of an isosceles triangle? If you're not sure, feel free to hit pause on this video. Well, based on the fact that we have to have at least two congruent sides, we can see that choice D is the only one that had two congruent sides, 6 inches and another side that is 6 inches. Choice D is the correct answer for an isosceles triangle's three sides. In fact, I got news for you. Choice A can't even be a triangle. 4 plus 8. Remember the triangle inequality theorem? Two sides added together have to be greater than the third side. 4 plus 8 is not greater than 12. It's equal to 12. So choice A can't even be a triangle. Now, choice B and C can, but they do not have two congruent sides. All right, which of the following could be three angles of an isosceles triangle? Again, if you're not sure and want to hit pause in the video, feel free to. Well, we know that isosceles triangles have to have not only just two congruent sides, but they also have to have at least two congruent angles. And so, which choice here has two congruent angles? Well, there's actually more than one choice. Choice B has a 30-degree and another 30-degree angle, but so does choice C. However, we must remember that the sum of three angles must equal 180 degrees. And choice C is the one. 30 plus 30 is 60, plus 120 is 180. Choice C has two angles that are the same, which is required for isosceles triangles, and the sum of the three angles is 180 degrees. Now, choice B, 30 plus 30 plus 60 would be 120. That does not add up to 180 degrees, so choice B, even though it does have two congruent angles, could not be three angles of a triangle, therefore it does not work. All right, let's switch it up. Find the perimeter of this triangle. If you don't remember what perimeter means, it is the sum of the sides all added together. So the top right side and the bottom right side and the left side added together, that is how we're going to get perimeter. We know the top side here is 20 inches. We know the left side is 9 inches. The bottom side, you notice these little slash marks, which is evidence that we have an isosceles triangle. The top and the bottom sides are the same measure. They are congruent. So the bottom side is also 20 inches. So to get the perimeter, we're going to add those three sides together, 9, 20, and 20, which gives us 49 inches. Let's take this same drawing and let's now talk about the angles. If y equals 26 degrees, what is the value of x? All right, again, y is definitely this angle here, and x is this angle and also this angle. Those two angles are congruent. They are both called x. X is the same as x. What do we know about angles of any triangle? We know that the three angles are going to add up to equal 180 degrees. Our three angles are x, another x, and y. However, we were just told that y is 26 degrees, so we can substitute that in. We also know x plus x, they're like terms. We can add them together and get 2x. And now we can solve this equation using inverse operations like we have learned before. The inverse of adding by 26 is subtracting by 26. That gives us 154. And then the inverse of multiplying by 2, dividing by 2, and we can find that the answer for x is 77 degrees.